Hello Planeswalkers, Andrew here with a brand new Combo Corner. In this video I'm going to deviate from the theme of the first two episodes, and by that I mean I won't be looking at just infinite combos from here on out. I wanted this show to be about interesting and fun combos, infinite or otherwise. So with that, let's get into the topic of this video, Companions. Companions are a new type of card introduced in Ikoria, Lair of Behemoths. They're not a card type, I guess. Companion is an ability that's held by just 10 cards, one for each color pair, and each companion has a deck building restriction. Meet the requirement, and you can have the companion in your sideboard, even in formats like EDH where you don't normally get a sideboard. Your companion acts as an extra card in hand, essentially, that you can cast at any point in the game. I'm going to go over each companion and what they do, and whether they're more useful as a companion, in the 99, or as your commander, as well as cards that synergize well with them. And with that, let's get into our first companion. Lutri, the Spell Chaser. This elemental otter has flash, and its companion restriction is that each non-land card in your deck must have a different name. When he enters, if you cast him, you can copy any target instant or sorcery you control. With this card you can... Wait, hold on. What do you mean I can't play him in EDH? He was auto-banned in EDH and Brawl? In all seriousness, at this point there aren't many players that have not heard of Lutri. He's infamous for being dead on arrival in singleton formats. Given that fact, combined with how weak a singleton deck is in any non-singleton format, as well as how weak Lutri is when he's not your companion, it's doubtful he'll ever see play in any format, period. Zarah, the Dawnwaker. This elemental fox has the restriction that each permanent card in your starting deck has an activated ability. Luckily, basic lands tapping for mana counts as an activated ability. Zarah reduces the cost of activated abilities you control by 2 generic, but it can't reduce it to less than 1. You can also pay 1 and tap him to prevent target creature from blocking this turn. Zarah has a lot of varied 2-card combos, the first of which being Grim Monolith. It taps for 3 and you can pay 4 to untap it. But with Zarah, it only costs 2 to untap it. Tap it for 3, pay 2 to untap, and repeat for infinite mana. The next dramatically different combo involves Basalt Monolith, which taps for 3 and costs 3 to untap. With Zarah, it costs 1 to untap, so you can tap it for 3 and pay 1 to untap it for infinite mana. This companion works better as your companion than anything else. With it, you only need to find one of the monoliths for infinite mana, and you can pack some means of winning with that infinite mana. As your commander, you lose the deck building restriction, but you also lose out on running a more powerful commander. And in the 99, this card becomes a lot worse, since you don't have access to it at all times. Obosh, the Prey Piercer. This Helion Horror's card restriction is that every non-land card in your deck has an odd-numbered CMC, and it makes every source you control with an odd CMC deal double damage. Combine this effect with Dictate of the Twin Gods, and your cards hit with quadruple damage. One card that synergizes well with this is Heartless Hitotsugu, which taps to hit every player for half the life total rounded down. With Obosh, this effect deals twice that damage, instantly killing any player with an even-numbered life total. Of course, this does include you, so make sure your life total is odd before you do this. Also, it's wise to pack some burden spells in case any of your opponents also have odd life totals, lest they survive with 1 life and kill you on the crackback. Obosh is best as your companion, although I could see it working as your commander given how widespread its effect is. Plus, as your commander, you can add in Furnace of Wrath to make your odd CMC cards hit for 8 times damage when combined with Obosh and Dictate. But this gets dicey since it and Dictate both affect incoming sources of damage as well, so your enemies would hit you for 4 times damage. Run Obosh with an extremely aggressive damage-dealing build regardless. Emori, the Collector. This squishy ooze requires all of your non-land cards to share a card type, and you choose a card type when it enters. It makes cards of the chosen type cost 1 less to cast. I have Noxious on Twitter to thank for Emori's segment here. You can run a deck with only enchantments and enchantment creatures, and thanks to Theros we have a fair number of those. This lets you cheat and play 2 card types. Additionally, you can run it in a Sultai deck to get access to Spark Double, so you can copy it and gain its effect twice. This is a card that works both as a companion and in the 99, since its effect is just generically good whenever you can play it, and it gains more versatility in the 99 since you're not restricted to one shared card type. Jaganatha, the Wellspring. This elemental elk wants every card in your deck to only have one of a given mana symbol on it. It taps for a Wooburg and can't be spent on generic mana. This is a pretty restrictive set of abilities, but with the right setup it can be quite powerful. Combine this card with Fist of Suns and you can use Jaganatha as your companion, or run Joda as your commander and run Jaganatha in your 99, since Joda has more than one of a couple mana symbols. With either of these cards you can pay a Wooburg for any spell instead of its mana cost, and so Jaganatha can tap to let you cast any spell in your deck. I would also recommend running Fabaro Elder, since it can also tap for a Wooburg under the right circumstances, like when you have Jaganatha on the field. Another fun thing you can do with him is run him alongside Nyxbloom Ancient, which is also something you can do in Standard right now. Sure, you can only use its mana to pay for colored mana costs, but still tapping one permanent for 15 mana. And in a deck where he's in your 99, you can run Progenitus, and either tap Jaganatha and Fabaro Elder together to pay for it, or tap Jaganatha with Nyxbloom Ancient to pay for Progenitus with a Wooburg to spare. Since running Jaganatha as your companion can be too restrictive, and having a Mana Dork as your commander kinda sucks, I recommend running him in your 99. Garuda, Doom of Depths. This Demon Kraken wants only even CMC spells, and lands in your deck. When it enters, you mill every player for 4, including yourself, then you can put an even CMC creature from among the milled cards onto the battlefield under your control. Running Garuda as your companion with plenty of creature cards means you're sure to hit at least one creature with an even CMC from your milled cards, and it's even better in a Yarok deck, where you do it twice when Garuda enters. You can also run Garuda in the 99 in a Yarok deck, although since you likely still want to run even CMC creatures to hit with its effect, it's not too different from running it as your companion. That said, it does allow you to run non-creatures with odd CMCs, or you can go full Daredevil and forget about the even CMCs and just hope you hit an even CMC creature off of your opponent's mills. Either way, graveyard recursion effects are paramount in any deck that self-mills. Shahira, the Orphan Guard. A cat beast that only plays nice with cats, elementals, nightmares, dinosaurs, and beasts. It has vigilance, and boosts the power of every creature you control of those types by +1/+1. This card is pretty straightforward, and you can run it as your companion in any of those tribal decks, or combine tribal decks together. Cayuga, the Macro Sage. A freaking dinosaur hippo that just asks you to run only cards with CMC 3 or greater, and lands. When it enters, it draws you a card for every other permanent you control with CMC 3 or greater. Here's another card that fits right in with Yarok the Desecrated. It's a harder companion requirement since it shuts you out of a lot of good ramp, but you can certainly run it in your 99. If you can manage to meet Garuga's companion requirement and still have plenty of CMC 3 or greater permanents for Karuga's effect, you can run both Garuga as your companion and Karuga in your 99 in a Yarok deck. If and when I get to building a Yarok EDH deck tech, I'll keep these two in mind. Yorion, Sky Nomad. This bird serpent is an interesting case in regards to EDH. His companion requirement is that you must run at least 20 cards more than the minimum card limit in a given format. Since EDH has a hard 99 card deck limit, you can't meet this requirement for being your companion. You can, however, run him as either your commander or in your 99. He's got flying, and when he enters, he lets you blink any number of permanents you control, returning to the battlefield on the next end step. This companion is generically good for any deck whose commander has a good ETB, and is in at least white and blue. A deck like Niv-Mizzet Reborn would be a perfect home for Yorion, since you can grab Yorion off of Nivi's ETB, then cast Yorion, and repeat Nivi's ETB. Lurrus of the Dream Den. Finally, we reach our last companion, a cat nightmare that requires you to run permanents that have CMC 2 or less. In exchange, you get a 3/2 with lifelink that lets you cast one spell with CMC 2 or less from your grave on each of your turns. With such a heavy drawback, it can be hard to play Lurrus as your companion. As your commander, she's stronger, letting you have her on the field as often as you can pay for her. She lets you perform some shenanigans with the graveyard, working well in an aristocrat-style deck. Animate Dead, Dance of the Dead, and Angelic Renewal all fall under Lurrus's ability, and since these cards aren't exiled upon casting them, you can repeatedly replay them each turn. Lurrus can also work in your 99, although, like all the companions, she's a little worse when you don't have the ability to cast her whenever you want. In an Orzhov deck, this can be mitigated by using Black's wide range of tutors to fetch Lurrus, although she may not be at the top of the list of cards to grab with Demonic Tutor. And there you have it, every companion from Ikoria. I think this is a very interesting mechanic. although each card varies in quality/playability as a companion, sometimes drastically. I feel that they each have a place in different formats, with the exception of Lutri, of course. What did you think of the companions? Do you have any other suggestions on how to use each companion in EDH? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Anyways, thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like, and think about throwing a sub our way. Have a great day, y'all.